Good morning and greetings from Bali. I've been wanting to share for a while about the importance of feeling your feelings. As I'm talking about this, we've just come out of a few months, and especially the last month has been quite intense around the world in terms of global grief and sadness, fear and anger. And for myself, I oftentimes experience things both on a personal level and on a collective level. And it's been a great opportunity to notice how and when I block any sort of feeling or sensation, and also to invite myself to actually step into feeling the feeling. I remember reading somewhere that an actual emotion only takes 90 seconds to process, which ironically will spend 20 years trying to prevent that feeling that just wants its 90 seconds of fame to move through. A lot of times when I talk about feelings, the assumption is that I'm talking about emotion. And really what I'm speaking of is getting underneath that, into the raw sensation. So for example, when we're feeling anger, the common responses is, one, I'm not supposed to or allowed to feel anger. I don't have time to rationalize why am I feeling this anger, to take something to stuff that anger. And what I'm really inviting is to get into that raw sensation, which could feel like a certain quality of heat, this current that's running through the body. And when we talk about grief as well, because that's a different kind of energy, it can be some sort of clamping that happens around the heart. It can affect the intestines. All of us are wired differently, so you'll have your own feeling experience, sensation, like textural, temperature, where you hold it in your body. So grief and anger will show up differently, possibly, in your body. And part of our practice is to become friendly with and to be able to sit with these sensations without trying to change them, move them, analyze, stop them, and to really just allow them. And my practice became just on a very daily level of being really honest with all those moments when my anger, my sadness, my discomfort, like all of those things would start to run through my system, and to just pause and let it be a meditation on sensation. And to also do it in a way where I don't go into overwhelm. So any moment where it starts to feel like too much, then I focus on something pleasant around me, or just focus on sounds, or open my eyes and tune into something in my present moment. And why this has been helpful, because there have been some pretty intense waves of grief and anger that have been going through, is once I've ridden the wave, and the more I commit to it, the faster it moves through. My senses, my present moment senses, are clarified. Suddenly my vision is way better. Suddenly my hearing is way better. Suddenly my sense of touch, everything is looking more magical and sensual. And part of it is that I'm giving myself permission to not reject or block any of my experience. I'm allowing the totality of my experience to exist. And so as a result, I don't need to shut down any part of myself. So I'm no longer numbing myself as well. And there's a certain safety that I have within myself that I can meet, that I can handle, that I can survive, that I can even thrive whatever moves through. And this is a very important rewiring because for many of us, from cultural expectations, conditions, school, family, friends, we have a wiring inside of ourselves where we don't allow ourselves to feel, and even a judgment around feelings that we have, and then an inability to actually express these feelings, and immediately going into kind of the most end result dramatic experience, which is, well, if I have anger, that means I'm a rageaholic. That's not what I'm talking about. It's actually about how do you ride the sensation in such a subtle way that you feel it, but it actually processes through you so that it's no longer trying to grab your attention to be felt. If we don't feel our feelings, then basically all day long, this anger, sadness, and all these other feelings are dying to get expressed. They just want to move through. The body loves flow. And so they will be attracting experiences to keep triggering this anger and sadness or whatever else in order to be expressed. So it helps us to bring ourselves into present time to actually feel our feelings, our sensations in the present moment. Why this is also really cool is we are very magical, interdimensional, for lack of better words, trippy, high individuals. And we don't actually need to be taking any mind altering substance to travel into other realms or to see things in a more magical way in this realm. We are so psychic, but because we've been dampening our and numbing out our sensitivity, we don't actually know that about ourselves. And what I've been loving over the past few years, and anyone who's been training with me knows this, that when we really connect to the subtle energetic and the core of ourselves and just being honest about who we are, what we feel, what we need, what we want, just being ourselves is the most delightful, trippy, mind-altering, wow experience that we could ever have. So it's really an invitation, and this is cheap, it's easy, because it's really an opportunity to meet yourself and to allow yourself in every single moment. And that's all I have to say today. Enjoy. Namaste.